A university professor told the New York Times if he wanted to create a situation that would make people act badly and angrily, he would just make them drive. That anger, the Times writes, is one cause of reckless driving in the United States. Motor vehicle crashes caused more than 42,000 deaths in 2021. It's nearly as many as there were some 50 years ago. Matthew Shaer wrote about the issue for the Times Magazine. He joins us now. Matthew, thank you. One of the experts in your piece said the condition of driving in the U.S. had been as if someone had flipped a switch. What did they mean by that?
The onset of some of the heightened fatality rates that we've seen across the country did happen very rapidly, and they coincided with the start of COVID. So you can track it. You just showed a graph on the screen, but for years, for decades, in fact, fatalities were starting to shrink around the country. And then they just sort of drastically spike up around the time of COVID. They've since reduced a little, but they're still at numbers that are extremely heightened.
And what would some of the contributing factors be for those heightened numbers?
It's a real mix, but when it comes down to it, what seems to be driving it is behavior. People are driving without their seatbelts. They're driving way too fast. They're driving too aggressively. They're weaving lanes more than they should. They're blowing through stop signs and stop lights. It's an aggregate of all these behaviors. And then you add drunk driving, which was also something that was starting to shrink over the past 10 years and has also shot up recently.
And I mentioned that the professor you interviewed who studies anger and who basically said, as I recall, that if you just wanted to make somebody angry and put them in a situation that would exacerbate or push all those buttons, driving would be it.
It's true. I mean, look, the American Psychological Association says that Americans are more stressed now than they have been in 30, 40 years. They despair more about the state of the country and about their own futures. So we carry stress with us everywhere we go. That's part of being human. Then we get into a car, and we're in that car for longer periods of time because our commutes are longer than ever. Traffic is worse than ever. And we are in an environment where sometimes we don't think about the people in the cars around us. We get provoked, someone's tailgating us, someone's speeding next to us, and everything that we have tamped down inside of us, all the stress and anxiety we have, it comes out to really disastrous effect.
And Matthew, you had a fascinating figure, I thought, about the lingering effect of checking your phone when you're driving.
Yeah, exactly. So look, we've known for a long time that distracted driving is deadly and that it robs us of our ability to concentrate on what's happening on the road. There's all this new research that shows that even after we put the phone down for 4 seconds, 5 seconds, we are still distracted. There's still something in us that is maybe still thinking about what we just typed or maybe thinking about the response that's going to come in. And that distraction is lasting. So you think about how many screens and how many gadgets we drive around with. And the impact of that distraction is huge.
What's being done, and are there things that can be done to combat all these various factors?
I know I don't have much time here, but I will say this. Look, when we look back at the 1960s, we had a crash crisis in the US. And back then we could solve it by saying to car manufacturers, you must make your cars safer. You have to make the gas tanks not blow up when people are operating them. This is a very different situation because it is largely driven by behavior, and human behavior is very hard to legislate. However, there are things that we can do, things that have worked in other countries, including more speed cameras and red light cameras. It's a little politically unpalatable to a lot of Americans, but we know it works. The other thing is to just redesign roads in a way that causes people to drive more carefully and more slowly. And that's something that's already happening. More roundabouts, more intersections, more stop signs. The more you slow the flow of traffic and make it harder for people to speed at exaggerated rates, the safer the roads become.
And then I'm going to squeeze in one tiny last question at the end, which is there a demographic profile that's worse or within these new uptick of numbers?
Look, speeding has always been a problem that affects young people and young male drivers, especially, right? When you look at the statistic, it's probably no surprise to anyone who has been a young person themselves or has children. That just happens when you're young. But the last thing I'll say is that a lot of these statistics that I mentioned at the top of the interview, they permeate across demographic and age groups to a really frightening degree. It's all of us who are the problem.
Matthew Shaer, contributing writer for the New York Times Magazine. Matthew, it was a great piece. Thank you.